Welcome to another exciting and very insightful episode of the BOM podcast. And we are super privileged today to be able to speak to the CEO, the founder, and the owner of this very successful PR agency, Starburst Promotions, Alishia van Deventer. Alishia, welcome to the BOM podcast.
Yeah, and from my side, Alishia, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Yes, and
hello, Lucas and Helmut. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. I just wanted to say, for those who may not know us, Helmut Meyer, Lucas de Beer, we're the hosts on the BOM podcast, and as I said, great to have you on the program, and we're looking forward to just hearing from your side as well, from a PR point of view, how things look like in the business of music.
Absolutely. And without further ado, Alishia, tell us, how did you get involved in the business of music?
Great. Thanks very much for inviting me. It's wonderful to speak to you, and congratulations with your podcast. I think it's a great thing that you're doing. It's wonderful to see that it's evolving in South Africa. It's a major thing internationally. So I'm very glad to see that someone is finally starting to step up and started in South Africa now to lift the bar a little bit. So well done. So for me, I've always loved the music business. I'm musical myself, so I play piano. Well, I used to play piano. I don't do it anymore because I don't have time. I work. I just always work. And I'm the mother of a little 4-year-old. I got very lucky to fall pregnant when I was 45. So I'm turning 50, and I'm the mother of a 4-year-old.
Mother of a 45.
That's wonderful, incredible. Well done. So, wow. I worked in the corporate industry, in the banking business for many, many years. And then, but I've always loved the music business. And my husband was a musician as well. So we always had like one foot in the music industry, but worked in the corporate business and marketing. And I did a degree through UNISA in marketing. And then one year we went to Car, probably about 18 years ago, I think, or 16 years ago, or something like that. I can't even remember. We went to Car, and there we stood at one of the stages, which was a terrible stage. It was terribly managed and whatever. And I just said to the guy there, standing there, that, this stage is such a mess. You know, I would be so embarrassed if it was my stage. And it turned out it was actually this guy's stage. And he said, oh, really? So what would you do if it was your stage? And I told him exactly what I would do to fix up the stage and to make it look better and to manage it better and whatever. And he invited me for breakfast the following morning, and we had breakfast, and he offered me a job at exactly the same pay that I got in the bank, and I got paid quite good money in the bank. And he offered me a job to come and work for him in the music industry and run his company. And I went right back to the bank, and I resigned. After many, many years, I resigned my stable job, and I came and worked in the unstable music industry for this company. And then I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. And I learned as much as I could. And then 2 years later, the company didn't make it. And then I didn't have a job. And I was married to a musician that didn't make it either. So we didn't have any money, and I didn't have a job. And I had to decide, was I going to go back to the banking industry or the corporate world, or was I going to stay in the music industry? And I decided, no, I'm going to stay in the music industry, and I'm going to take what I've learned so far and my knowledge of the corporate industry, and I'm going to combine it, and I am going to be successful. And it wasn't easy. It was definitely not easy because we didn't have money. We basically almost lost everything we had. There were very many days that I carried equipment with my husband when he sang for 500 Rand in pubs and a beer, and to hopefully sell a CD or something like that. There's many musicians that would know that, how that feels. So been down that road, but I learned how to be a manager. I learned how to book gigs. I learned how to do absolutely everything. And that carried on for quite a while. And through that, I met many other musicians, and I started managing other musicians and organizing gigs for a lot of musicians, met a lot of people in the industry, and I got to know the industry. And luckily then a record label came along and they offered me a job. And I got to understand how a record label worked inside out. And during that time, I discovered that I really, really loved the publicity side and the public relations side of the business. And I worked for the record label for quite a while. And then I think it's plus minus about 10 years ago that I said to the record label, look, I really love the public relations side of the business, and I would like to just open my own public relations company, if they don't mind. They said to me, it's all good. We had a really good relationship. And they said, it's all good. I can go as long as they could be my first client. And Starburst Promotions was born.
Oh, wow. What a cool story, man.
It's really, really a blessing.
Yeah.
And from there, we moved on. And we are very blessed. And that is how I got where we are now.
Wow, beautiful story, Alishia. And I know we've used Starburst Promotions over the past, I don't know how many months, year and a half maybe, I can't remember, but I never knew that. That's where it started. It's a beautiful story.
Cool.
Okay, so a PR company, and maybe just to clear it up then, what exactly is public relations, Alishia, and why is it important for artists?
Okay, yeah, it's a very, very good question. And I think it's important for me to explain as well what public relations is and what PR is and what publicity, because people's got misconceptions between what I often hear people talk about public relations and PR and this and that, and they don't understand the difference. And then people throw marketing in the mix as well. And it's important for people to understand what the difference is between these things. Otherwise, they knock on the wrong doors and they don't get the results that they're looking for. Yeah. So publicity and PR, it's not the same thing. Publicity is when you create awareness around an artist and his music, through creating awareness, and you set up interviews and articles in the media and TV interviews, and you put him right out there in the media through all of those things. So you create awareness through interviews and putting him out there. PR is when you lift someone's profile through managing his reputation, and you lift someone's image and brand. And I, for example, the publicist would manage a very close relationship with any media and anyone that could have an influence on my client's brand or career. And that is the difference between PR and publicity. So PR would be lifting a client's brand and image and managing his profile, and publicity would be getting the client out there through radio interviews and articles and things like that. And then marketing would be a completely different thing. It is advertising. Marketing is always advertising related. So you pay for it. You pay for ads, that's TV ads, billboards, campaigns, that kind of thing. So that's the difference between all of that. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to ask you a couple of practical questions. Also, because I think
I missed something there, because you asked me why is it important? Why is publicity important? Sorry, I missed that.
No, go for it.
So obviously publicity is important because you have a good product as an artist. You have a good product. You've worked so hard on it, and you need to get someone to help you to get it out there. And advertising is extremely expensive. I mean, if you want to buy one ad on TV or in a newspaper, it'll cost you 80,000 Rand or something like that. So it's very expensive, and a good publicist can help you to reach the correct target market. If you get a really good publicist, she will help you, or he will help you to identify the correct target market. You can't really do it yourself because you don't have the time and you don't have the right connections or skill to really publicize yourself. Also, publicity is important because it brings credibility to your brand and to you as an artist. And it actually does show that you're serious about who you are. It shows that you're serious about your career when you're represented by a credible PR company. And, overall, your publicist is your spokesperson and your connection to the outside world. That is the person that represents you to the media, who in turn represents you to the public and opens doors for you and help you create stories and tell your stories in a unique way. So that would really be, to me, why you would need publicity.
Yeah.
So, Alisha, what would you, if we had to just unpack this for the general artist, because there's a lot of misconception, what would be the difference between a PR manager and an artist manager?
Okay, so a PR manager, I obviously explained now what PR does. A PR manager is a publicist and looks after your publicity, getting all your publicity done, your interviews and stuff like that. Where an artist manager manages your day-to-day diary, manages your life. An artist manager, overseas, you get a lot of artist managers overseas. It's quite a big thing overseas because the scope there is just much bigger than here. A real artist manager would manage your diary. A real artist manager would actually manage your publicist and would manage your agent, your booking agent, and would deal directly with your record label and would make sure that everything is sorted out, would even manage your bank statements, would manage your accountant. That is what a real artist manager does, and would manage your tour manager and would make sure that everything goes fine. Your publisher would make sure that your publishing goes according to how it. That is what an artist manager does. He manages your career,
your life,
and everyone that is involved in your career, all these elements. But in South Africa, there is not a lot of artist managers because careers are really not as big as a Bon Jovi career in South Africa, to be managed at that scale. And also what I've noticed is that in South Africa, there's a conception that an artist manager is an agent. Guys come and say, I need an artist manager, but he's really looking for a booking agent.
Maybe just to clear up another misconception, because as we're unpacking this, we're realizing there are terminology that kind of gets confused. But a PR manager or publicity is not the same thing as a publisher as well. That's someone that does.
No.
Yeah. But I don't know if I was asked the question a couple of weeks ago, but isn't a publicist and a publisher the same thing? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I get it all the time. I get an email and please, I'm looking for someone. Can you help me? I need a publisher, and I'm not a publisher. I'm a publicist. People think that a publicist is a publisher, and you completely understand what a publicist does now because I explained it clearly. A publisher administrates your royalties and handles the publishing of your music. And he would handle the copyright and the legalities and the intellectual property of your music, the licensing of an artist's music, collecting licensing fees, defending the rights of, against all unauthorized users, paying out the songwriter their shares. He should also promote the catalog to the best that he can. And a very good person to go and read about is Jonathan Shaw. He wrote on samro.org.za. You can actually go and read Understand the Music Publishing by Jonathan Shaw. That's when if you want to understand what music publishing is and a publisher does, you can go and read it there. But it's a completely different thing. A publisher looks after royalties and your music catalog, and a publicist puts you out there to get interviews and lift your career.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, Lucas and I, we're actually quite privileged that we've spoken to Jonathan Shaw also on the bomb. And like you rightly said, I mean, if you want to know something.
Well, if you want to know more about publishing, actually our very first episode was with a guy called John Fishlock.
Yeah.
He's just brilliant.
Also amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So go and check out that podcast with John Fishlock. And the other one, we had a podcast with Jonathan Shaw as well, where he actually unpacks a great perspective on the music industry.
Yeah, and the complexities around how the interweavedness of everything, but also, the landscape of it. So, Alisha, ourselves having worked with you on quite a few projects, don't you just want to, in a nutshell, explain to us what are the services that Starburst actually offer to clients?
So our main focus is publicity, public relations, and we focus very much on public relations, PR, and marketing of albums, singles, music videos, artist careers, also celebrity management. We also do influencer management. We manage at the moment, we manage two of the big TikTok stars, Shanae Grobler and King Berto. And we do publicity for films, movies, for some international films and local films, books and authors that we do publicity for, and then event management. So we do major events that we do full event setup and events. And that's really the scope of our business. So anything to do, and corporates, we do publicity for corporate companies as well. So everything that's got to do with public relations and publicity and social media marketing is what we do.
Alisha, I was just wondering, when should an artist consider doing their own PR? Or using, we've tried that, or using a company like Starburst.
Well, look, I think with the scope of social media platforms at the moment available, like TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything, it's very easy for an artist to, in the right way, kind of build a nice platform for himself, with all the Spotify's and all of that as well, to kind of get himself established and build a nice platform for himself, and a nice following up to a point where he needs to get a publicist on board. So it depends on how serious an artist is about his career. If an artist is really serious about his career and say, look, I really want to make a full-time career of this, and I don't want to play around, then once he starts recording his album or his single, or he should start talking to a publicist about the way forward. If you're not serious about your career and you're just doing this for a hobby, whatever, then don't bother. But if you're serious about your career, then when you start recording and you're busy with your product and your single or your album or your video, whatever, start talking to your publicist to bring her on board, to help you plan it out, and to help you get the timeline sorted out of when you need to release, how the release should work, when to start. Even when you have a show that's coming out or a tour, a publicist can also help to get the tour going, and work out the promo for the tour and stuff like that. But I would say if you're serious about your career right from the beginning, get a publicist on board, because that's also when you need to determine the fee of the publicist, to work it into your budget in the beginning, not at the end when you spent all your money on recording the album and everything, and then you say, oh, now I've got the album and I don't have any money to pay to promote it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this immediately leads to the next question is how does a newcomer, an artist that is embarking on this publicist journey, because it's a foreign concept for most artists, especially with all the options with social media. How does somebody pick a publicist, and what are the things they need to look out for?
Research. Do your research. Check out a couple of PR companies. I mean, check out your favorite artists and who that you see pop up all the time. Mm-hmm. Check who they are represented by. Check out the PR company. Check out the make a short list of PR companies. Maybe check out, like I said, check out which artists pop up quite often and see who they be represented by. Then check out the PR company that you kind of like. Check out their social media presence. Check them out for a while. Check out who they're working with, and check references. Phone some of those artists or make contact with some of those artists and ask them, how is it dealing with this PR company? Check them out. I mean, I know that many people that start working with us checked us out before they came to work with us. I mean, people tell me that they asked about us, which I like, because it's good. You need to check people out. And then, be careful of anyone that tells you that if they tell you that you need to pay their money and they will get you playlisted on radio, run, because there's no guarantee ever that money will get you playlisted on radio. I mean, there's never any guarantee. If anyone tells you, if you pay me X amount of money, I'll get you playlisted on radio or get your video on TV, they are just stealing your money, because there's never a guarantee. And then when they quote you an amount for PR, make sure that there's no hidden costs, that the amount you quoted is the amount that you're going to pay, that they don't come back every now and then and say, okay, now there's an additional amount or an additional amount, and trust your gut. When you have a meeting and you don't feel easy about something, whatever, trust your gut. But I would definitely just say, check them out, ask people, references, and also make sure that you fit in with the type of client base that they represent. Oh. I mean, if you love the PR company and they represent a weird kind of client base that doesn't really do your kind of music, why would you want to go there? Go with a company that fits your profile. Yeah.
Alishia, I think it's super important, and my next question, I think you already answered, and it was in terms of finances and budget and how accessible something like PR management is. But if I listen to you correctly now, you're saying that, hang on, before you even start recording your music, factor in publicity, factor in PR, and make that part of in other words, you got to have a plan, you got to have a budget before you start. So whether you're speaking to a music producer, you have to then already have to have spoken to a PR company like yourselves as well.
Absolutely. And good PR companies will definitely be pricey. You will definitely, they're not going to come really cheap, because you're going to pay for good work and good connections. And like I said earlier, the biggest problem is that the artists tend to spend all their money on recording the album. the music video, and all these things. And they don't leave room for budget to promote the album and publicity at the end of the day. So we often have that problem. So by the time the artist finished everything, they come to us and they say, okay, now I need to promote this album, but I don't have money. And we are like, okay, so we need to help you, but you can't pay us. Now what? How must we help you promote this album? So we're trying to also educate artists to, when you start recording your album, you are going to have to get this album out to the public at the end of the day. A very, very big important thing is to put into your budget right at the beginning that you're going to have to promote this album. If the album is costing you 100,000 Rand to record, budget 100,000 Rand for publicity. It equals it. Put it.
Wow. Well, that's very practical.
That is what you need to do. Yeah. Put it equally, because that is what it's going to cost to do your publicity and marketing, and leave room for marketing money as well. If you're serious about your career and to get the album out there, you need to put that kind of money aside for publicity. So that, from the beginning. From our side at Starburst, we're very flexible. We offer different packages. We offer single promotion packages, and we offer full packages for albums. And we're also flexible on payment structures. So we do try and help artists, with repayment packages over periods of times and things to help them, because we do know that everyone can't pay a bulk amount of money at once. But yeah, it is a strong message that we try and get over to people, and especially artists. Is number one, be careful of the crooks out there, because there's a lot of them. So do your research before you just give your money, because we have a lot coming to us saying that one and that one and that one stole my money, and it's now the third time that I'm trying someone. And then also budget for your PR right from the beginning when you start planning your album.
Alishia, I have a question that we haven't got on our list, but it's and maybe it's not fair, and we're very open that you tell us that. An artist wanting to record a single, get it on radio, and use somebody like Starburst, what do they need to budget for? What is a ballpark figure that somebody needs to? I don't know if it's a fair question, but I'm just thinking, going really practical in South Africa.
It's all good with us. It's just as good as anyone asking us for a quote. You need to look at about 15,000 Rand with us. That's our fee. And then we do everything. We do everything from helping you working out the single plan, getting it out to radio, following it up. We also use Radio Monitor to monitor the playlisting for you, and we do radio interviews for you. We write your media release, we get it out to online media, and we help you over a 3-month period to establish a little bit of a profile. And I know that we do a good job.
We know you do a good job too, because you helped one of our artists that we recorded, Prophet, and radio stations actually playlisted some of their music, which is unbelievable and unheard of. But in any case,
link below.
Alishia, it was so much fun, and also more than fun, it was so good just getting our minds into the PR world today, and just hearing your thoughts and your heart as well. So what we'll do is we'll put all your contact details, we'll put underneath this video as well. So if you want to get in touch with Alishia or with Starburst, it will be underneath this video. And then hopefully maybe in future we can have you on again, and we can maybe look at a next round of understanding the world of PR management and why it's really important.
Absolutely, that will be wonderful. And thanks for having me. It was great chatting to you guys.
Thank you very much. So from Lucas, myself, Helmut, thank you, Alishia, and thank you for watching the Bomb Podcast. Please like, please subscribe, and if you find this useful, share it with other people, and let's get more information widely spread in the South African music industry.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for inviting me. And just a final note from myself to the artists out there and upcoming artists and everyone, don't take yourself too serious. Just enjoy it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Alisha.